Hi, I'm Steven Seifert. With this video, I want to give you a little taste of what's going on inside Dulcimer School. And for this lesson, I want to talk about reading hands. I think this is one of the quickest ways you can learn to play an instrument. It's one of the quickest ways you can learn to play a tune, especially on the mountain dulcimer. Okay? So some people read sheet music or they read tab. I'm going to try to show you in this short video how to read hands. I'm going to use a Gene Ritchie tune. It's called Pretty Betty Martin, and I'm going to just walk you through a bunch of these. Now there's some ground rules. Number one, you're not going to get the whole tune. You're not going to learn it all. Okay, you're not going to get every note just right. Because traditional musicians don't play that way. If you listen to a really good fiddler, they're not going to play exactly everything the same twice ever. They're having too much fun. They have this whole way of varying things as they play, okay? So you are off the hook. You don't have to get every little note. You don't have to memorize it. Number two rule, all you got to do is follow along best you can. So let's jump into it. Pretty Betty Martin. First thing I want you to do is just listen to the tune. Just sit back, listen, watch my hands. Now that's it. I'm going to go through this a number of times. You're going to get more familiar with this tune as we go on. The second thing I want you to do, you're not just going to watch now. You're going to try to describe to yourself what you see me doing. And I'm going to go ahead and do this out loud to give you an example of what I want you to do every time you watch somebody play a tune and you don't know the tune yet. Okay? Well, he started on a 4. Oh, there's that 4 again. He didn't use anything higher than a 4. It sounds like he just repeated something. There's that 4 again. This is different. 6th fret was used. That high note's a 7. When I watch somebody play through a tune, I'm thinking of all that stuff. I'm noticing the highest fret they use. I'm noticing maybe that the first section repeats and that the second section doesn't. All that kind of stuff. If you're a little rusty on fret numbers, let me give you this very brief intro or reminder. Notice on the dulcimer, and you're going to need this when you're reading hands, wide spaces and narrow spaces. 1 and 2 are wide. 3 is narrow. 4 and 5 are both wide. 6, 6.5, and 7 are narrow. So out of all these wide and narrow spaces, from O to 7, there's only one solitary narrow space. That's 3, the 3rd fret space. It sticks out like a bullseye. So let that be the first thing you get down. 3, okay? And then look up here, there's 3 little ones grouped together. 6, 6.5, and 7. The 6.5 fret wasn't there in the old days. We added it somewhere around the 70s, 80s, I'm not sure. But that's why it's a 6.5. It's the new fret that's halfway between 6 and 7. So remember 3, 6, 6.5, and 7. Okay? If I strum it without fretting, that's open. So we've got open, 1, 2, 3, the solitary little one, 4, 5, 6, 6.5, 7. And that's all you'll need for this lesson. Okay, so we're playing Pretty Betty Martin. First thing I asked you to do was just listen. Just sit back and listen. Second thing is to describe to yourself what you see going on. What's the highest fret used? What's the lowest fret used? Do sections repeat? Is there anything odd? Okay. Third thing I want you to do is call out the fret numbers. You're not even playing yet. Call out the fret numbers as I play them, right when I get to the note. this is the part where you might mess up a little. I want you to do it anyway. If you can get about a third of these or better, you're doing great. You're reading my hand right now. Here comes the second part of the tune. If you didn't catch that high note, maybe you can get it next time around. What's that one? All you're doing is calling out numbers as I get to them. This is real important. Stay glued to my hand. Do it again. 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1. Oh, that's what I want you to do. You're reading my hand. It's going to go up high. What does it go to? Look at it. It goes up high to another one. What is it? Up high again. Where to? Good. So number 1, you listen. Number 2, you generalize what you see happening, kind of taking in the lay of the land. Number 3, you're going to just say the numbers you see me playing. Now remember, a good traditional musician is going to play a tune different every time. I'm not doing that right now because I want to kind of help you out. But you still need to give yourself a break. You know, if you get to where you're getting 60, 70% of what I'm playing, that's great. If you see me play something and you're thinking, what did he do there? Just gloss over it. Fake it. Whatever. Move on. Stay with me. Get what you can get. We want low-hanging fruit here, okay? So the next thing I want you to do, and this one's a little harder for some people, still not even touching the dulcimer yet. I want you to sing the numbers. And this one's important. I'm not a great singer, and maybe you're not either, okay? I want you to do it anyway. Hum the numbers, sing them, whatever you got to do to get them out. We're not trying to sound like Pavarotti. We're trying to make a connection in the brain with the number to the relative high or low of each note as it comes by. So let's try it. You're going to sing these numbers. I'm not going to sing. I want you to sing. Here we go. Don't be afraid to use a pause or a rewind button on these videos. You know, if you have to go sing along with that 10 times, that's great. We're getting ready to move into the next phase where you actually play this thing, okay? First was just listen. Second, generalize what you see going on. Number 3, you just call out the fret numbers. Number 4, you sing the fret numbers, even if you're not a great singer, okay? And we're just shooting for getting a percentage of the notes. I don't want you to get them all. I hope you never learn any tune exactly, okay? A good tune is something you chase and never really catch because it's so full of life. That's the way I look at it. I feel like the sham wow guy a little bit, but I'm trying to move fast. So, what's next, okay? Well, there's a strum going on. Now, when some people read a strum off of a piece of music, they try to play exactly what they see going on, and then they try to memorize that. I would never want to memorize that much about what a right hand should be doing. I get my right hand moving, and I hit the strings when I want to. So let me give you a super brief overview of what all that means. I'm going to move to the beat of the music with my right hand only. I want you to do this too, and count out loud with me. I'm going to go away or down on every number. And on every and, I'm going to come towards myself. So watch. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Don't look at your own hand. Look at mine when we're doing that. Now, I was just air strumming. Rewind if you need to. Now I'm going to hit every out. But I'm going to do an air strum on the in every time. And it's like this. Count out loud as we do this. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, what's really important there is that when you do the ands, you're not hitting the strings, but you need to move as if you are, especially as a beginner. You can kind of leave this out later, but your job is to be accurate and musical when you're hitting the strings and when you're not hitting the strings. So do that again. 1 and 2 and. Leave that hand out in front a little longer if you have to. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, most of the time when I'm playing this tune we're working on by Gene Ritchie, Pretty Betty Martin, I'm just about always hitting the outs, okay? But there's something else I'm doing to make it a little more interesting. Every once in a while, just whenever I feel like it, instead of hitting the out only, I'm going to allow the pick to hit the out and the in just for one of these. Here it comes, right here. And then I get right back to hitting out only. My rate of alternation does not change. I might do 2 in a row. Let me speed up, just watch. So I'm hitting every out. I'm still moving on the ends as if I'm hitting, but I'm not. I want to be accurate. Every once in a while, whenever I feel like it, I make one of these out onlys an out in. Group of out ins, maybe 2 or 3 in a row. Watch it even faster. So predominantly I'm hitting outs only, but every once in a while, a group of out ins. So let's do that slow. Do it with me. Count out loud, sometimes not. So watch this. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. I'm doing outs only. 3 and. Now I'm going to start every once in a while just deciding a little bit ahead of time to make one of the upcoming out onlys an out in. Or maybe I'll do a couple in a row like that. Alright, we've got whole sections of Dulcimer School where I work on the strumming. The point is here, when you're learning a new tune, you don't want to have to memorize every time somebody hits the strings and then do it the same way every time. And then get a whole group of people doing it the same way every time. It's not very interesting. What's better, especially with traditional music, is when everybody's playing the tune, but they're not all playing exactly the same notes. Maybe 98% are the same notes. And then the strumming is not the same everywhere. This guy does it out in, when this guy does it out only, and vice versa. And the little out ends are popping up around the room. And it gives an ensemble sound, like an orchestra. And it's cool sounding to me. Plus, you don't have to worry about learning the strum and memorize it and all that. You get your body moving to the beat. You predominantly hit outs only, and every once in a while you let the pick hit out ends to fill it in. Sometimes it's just filler when you do an out end. Sometimes you need it to play some notes in the melody. All right, let's get back to the tune. If you're still with me, congratulations. The best stuff's yet to come, I hope. We're reading hands like some people read music, okay? You don't have to get everything right. You don't have to worry about memorizing it or whether you're going to remember it. You don't have to worry about if you're talented or smart. I just want you to follow along. I play the tune. Number 1, you listen. Number 2, you generalize what you see. Just kind of sum it up to yourself. Number 3, you say the numbers with me. Number 4, you sing the numbers I'm playing. Okay? Number 5, you're going to just look at my hand and try to move your right hand at the same rate mine is moving. Okay? Figure out, if we were just going to hit outs only, how fast should you be moving? And are you going out when I'm going out? Okay? So here's what I want you to do right now. I just want you to get your hand moving with mine. Here we go. Don't worry about my left hand. Your only job is to alternate with me, hit every out, but improvise which one of those is an out in. You don't have to do it the same as me. It'll sound better if you don't. But I do want you to alternate with me. 3 and ready, go. always need to check to see if you're moving to the beat of the music. Even when I'm not hitting the strings, I'm trying to at least keep something moving to the beat of the music. All right. So what's next? Next is to strum with me like that, where you're hitting every out, sometimes hitting out ends. Sometimes you might not hit anything. Sometimes I might just do air strums for a beat or two. But as you're strumming with me, not worrying too much about it, I want you to call out and sing the numbers you see me doing. So it'll be like this. 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your left hand's still taking a break. You're not fretting, okay? Keep your eyes glued to my fretting hand. Sing or say the numbers I'm playing as we strum together. Don't forget adding out ends. 3, 4, here we go. Sing or say the numbers. Want to just hit outs only. Good. If you're getting a little overwhelmed right now, it's probably because we're moving a little too fast for you, and you should just back up and do it all again up to this point. If you're ready to move on, here we go. All these skills, I'm going to show you how to piece all this together for reading hands. It's a neat process. Hang in there, don't stop. Next, and I forget what number we're on. Next is you're actually going to fret, but not strum. Okay? So you can put your strumming hand down, relax. Keep your eyes glued on my fretting hand. You fret what I'm fretting. And this is interesting. I want you to remember this. I've had students do this where they're doing okay, messing up now and then. If I ask them to also say or sing what I'm fretting, they instantly do better. That might not always be the case, but it has been for me. So I'm going to play the tune. You're not going to strum. You're just going to say or sing the numbers as you actually fret them now. Here we go. 3, 4. Alright, now if you're always checking your hand to see if you're on the same numbers as me, you will probably fail pretty quick at this. This is a really big deal. Probably the most important part of all this. When you don't know a tune, you don't need to be looking at your hands to make sure you're on the right fret. You need to be looking at my hands or whoever's got the tune, okay? Your hand doesn't know the tune. So here's what I want you to do at first. You don't look at your hand. Okay, when I go from a 4 to a 2 to a 1, you go ahead and do that as if you're just nailing it with me, but you don't actually look at your own hand to see if you're getting exactly what I'm getting. There's plenty of time for cleaning up your fretting later. Right now, be glued to my hand. So I want to ask you to be disciplined here. Try not to look at your fretting hand at all. There will be time for that later, plenty of time for that. As you get more familiar with what's going on, you will start looking at your own hand and improving your accuracy, but not yet. Here we go. No strumming yet, just fretting, singing, saying 3 and 4 and. Don't look away from my hand. Right here I'm going to a 4, but don't check to see if you went to a 4. This part's going to be harder because it goes up high. Don't look at your hand. Don't look. I'm going to go up high. You go up high, but don't look at your hand. Keep looking at mine. Just fake it till you make it. I still feel like the sham wow guy. notice I'm only fretting with one finger right now. That's mainly just to make it easy on you right now, so you can really see what fret I'm on. I typically use more than one finger. All right, so where are we at? We're going to put it all together. You haven't seen the whole story yet, so don't back out yet till you get to the end here. We want to put both hands together. At first, your right hand is probably only going to be hitting outs only, like this. You can add the filler strums later. You can improvise those later once you're more comfortable with your left hand. Fret what I'm fretting as you do the strum. If you get 50 to 60% of the notes right, that's great. We're not going for 100% here. All right, so let's try it out. Move to the beat with me as I count you off. I'm going to start on the 4th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're having trouble, call out the numbers as you see me do them. Or sing them. Repeat that section. You're reading my hand. Don't look at your hand. The more you've done this video, the more you're allowed to look at your hand. Here comes that 2nd section. Goes up high, but to what? If you don't know, just fake it. Now, what you probably need to do right now is do that last little bit over and over and over and over again. Okay, not till you're perfect, but just to where you're kind of getting it, all right? Now, what really messes people up with this is when they get uptight because they're not getting everything. It's so important as a traditional musician to become comfortable with faking it until you make it, okay? If you get bogged down worrying about it, it'll drive you crazy. So that's pretty much it. That's the whole picture. So let me sum it up and give you some practice time on this. What's practically going to happen? This is some new information here. You're going to show up somewhere and get a chance to play with another mountain dulcimer player. You're either not going to know what they're doing at all, or it's going to be something you kind of know. Maybe you kind of know it because you've read it on the tab. Okay? Maybe it's something you've heard as a child. Okay, I don't know. It's always going to be easier to do this with a tune you have a little familiarity with. Something like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star or whatever, you know. All right, so you got a person, maybe it's 5 people playing. If you're really new, if you sit too close to that group, you're not going to hear yourself real well, okay? If you sit too far away, you're not going to be able to see the hands that you need to see. So if you're looking at 5 people, you want to pick out the person who isn't the fanciest, pick out the person who knows what they're doing, and they're pretty solid, okay? Glue your eyes to their hands. Now, of all the ways I told you to read their hands, you have to use those. You have to rotate through all those methods over and over again. Okay, here's an example. I'm playing along, I'm watching somebody. I decide just to listen. Okay, then I start singing the numbers. Then I try to fret what I see them doing, but I don't strum yet. Then I decide it's pretty hard and I'm just going to stop and listen again. Then I'm going to try the fret again. Then I decide to just strum and listen. Try to match their strumming. Okay? Now I'm going to try to sing the numbers while I'm strumming. Then I'm going to try to just sing the tune. Then I'm going to start putting it together. Then I realize I'm not getting it all. I need to stop, listen. Now I'm going back to this. Then I go back to... I'm rotating through all those methods. The people that fail at this are the ones who are just going to stick to one of those methods, and they're not going to jump through the others. And I sometimes move through them every few seconds. What's going to emerge is you're going to be getting, let's say, 50-60% of the tune, except for the ending, which you're not getting yet. And there's a fancy thing on the A part. I want you to fake those harder things. You've got the rest of your life to get those finer details. If you'll relax and not worry and just go for the big picture, knowing that good musicians never play it the same way twice, you're going to be far ahead of the game. I'm asking you to trust me. So what I'm going to do here is do this for you. I'm going to jam. You're watching my hands. I want you to do whatever you got to do to get this tune down. I'm going to play through this tune. I'm going to play through it 5 times. And this is harder when somebody's playing faster. So you're going to get less when it's going faster. There's nothing wrong with going to slow jams. There's nothing wrong with taking somebody aside and saying, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? If you play this tune with me for 5 minutes, I'll get you a donut and a coffee, whatever it takes. Ask them to play it a little slower. You won't, if you'll trust me and try this, you'll be surprised how quick you can get better and better at this. I read hands like some people read music. And the beautiful part is, rather than having my attention on this book, I've got it all around the room and the book. Did you hear that? Once you can do this really well, you can still use the books. But now they're just part of the picture instead of all of the picture. And you're paying attention to things. So here we go. Thank you very much. If you've made it this far, you deserve a badge. I don't have any. But here's a little Pretty Betty Martin. And watch the hands. Don't look away from the hand until you're starting to get it. Here we go. Pretty Betty Martin. 1, 2, ready, go. If you forget all the methods, review the video. Write them down. Put them on a piece of paper in front of you. The methods, not the notes. You can do that too later. This next time I'm going to go a little slower, and then we'll pick it up again. Everything again, a little slower. B part. After this B part, we'll speed up a little bit. If you're getting tired, go get a cup of coffee and try it again. Alright, speed up a little bit. Again. If you keep working on this video, you'll get this tune where you kind of have it memorized, and you'll mess up every now and then, and that's what we're shooting for. Eventually you'll quit messing up now and then. Or you'll mess up in ways that sound good. That's what I shoot for. I want my mistakes to be good ones. Then they're not mistakes. Then they're variety. I'm going to go a little faster, and then the one after this will be slower. Out, out, and out, and out. Watch your right hand. Out. Actually, watch my fretting hand. Out, out, out. I like putting my out ends in different places. Sometimes a bunch, sometimes very few. I like to hit certain notes louder than others. And I improvise that. We're going to do it one more time, and I'm going to slow down. One more time. Here we go. were watching me in a real jam, I would be playing it a little different every time, just in very subtle ways. And your job would be to kind of gloss over all that and just shoot for the main idea. I'm training you to read the main idea from the hands, not every detail. There you go. Keep your eyes on the hands. Please check out Dulcimer School if you get a chance, dulcimerschool.com. And watch this video as many times as you have to get these methods down so that when you show up at the next jam, you can join in. Thanks a lot.